Imagine a bird that never nests, never lays eggs, and never raises chicks. Instead, it simply grows from a shell clinging to a piece of driftwood. That was the barnacle goose, according to medieval Europe. The barnacle goose is real. Every autumn, thousands of them arrive on the coasts of Britain and Ireland, filling the air with their distinctive calls. But where they came from was a mystery. The geese vanished each spring, and no one in Europe had ever seen their nests or their young. The birds appeared only in winter, seemingly from nowhere, and the sea was the only place they could hide. The answer, people decided, lay in strange shell-encrusted branches that washed ashore. These objects looked like tiny goose heads poking from shells, with feathery, root-like attachments. Someone made the leap. These weren't just shells, they were baby geese waiting to hatch and fly away. The log was their nest, the sea their mother. The myth was given its strongest boost in the 12th century by Giraldus Cambrensis, a Welsh monk and scholar. He wrote that he had personally seen tiny geese growing inside these shells. Giraldus was not a fringe figure. He was respected, well-traveled, and his writings were widely read. His claim was repeated by other scholars, and the story began to harden into accepted fact. Here's the twist. People had seen the geese with their young. In Ireland, farmers noticed that the birds returned with goslings each winter, but the explanation offered for this was simple. The young ones had hatched from the shells. The barnacle goose is one of the hardest birds to track. It breeds in the high Arctic, on cliffs in Greenland, Svalbard, and remote Russian islands, places Europeans simply never visited. It wasn't that the geese hid their breeding grounds out of trickery. It was that the distances were too vast, the terrain too harsh. No one could follow them to find out. So the myth filled a genuine gap in knowledge. The barnacle goose didn't need a hidden nest somewhere no human could reach. It grew from the sea itself. That was far more believable than a goose raising chicks in a frozen wasteland. The belief had real-world consequences. Church law prohibited eating meat during Lent and on other fasting days, but fish and other sea creatures were allowed. If the barnacle goose grew from driftwood, was it a bird or a fish? The answer mattered because people wanted to eat it during Lent without sinning. Church authorities weighed in. In the 13th century, Pope Innocent Roman III declared that barnacle geese were not to be eaten as fish during Lent. The reasoning, even if they grew from shells, they were still birds. But that didn't settle it. Other church leaders disagreed. Some councils allowed the geese, others forbade them. The debate went on for centuries. Monasteries and castles kept records of hunting barnacle geese. Some even claimed the birds were fish-like and could be eaten on Fridays, a convenient loophole for the wealthy. The myth also appeared in bestiaries, illustrated encyclopedias of animals, where the barnacle goose was featured alongside lions and unicorns. It was treated as a wonder of nature, not a fable. Some writers went further. They claimed that a barnacle goose that fell from the tree into water would survive and swim away. If it fell on dry land, it would die. Every detail seemed to support the story. It wasn't until the 17th century that naturalists began to truly question the myth. Explorers and sailors started returning from the Arctic with stories of goose nests and eggs found on remote islands. By the 18th century, the science was settled. The barnacle goose nests on cliffs, lays eggs, and raises chicks, just like any other bird. The shells on driftwood are simply goose barnacles, a type of crustacean unrelated to geese. The myth's end came not from a single discovery, but from a slow accumulation of evidence. It took centuries for enough people to see the Arctic with their own eyes to overwrite a story that had been told for generations. The barnacle goose myth is a lesson in how easily a confident claim can become accepted truth. It shows that even when evidence seems to point the other way, like seeing a goose with its goslings, a powerful story can hold firm against reason. And it reminds us that some of our most natural beliefs are simply stories we've told so long, we've forgotten they were ever questioned. Subscribe for more stories like this.